Aaron, thank you so much, and a special thank you to the agency leaders. You know, as I said this morning, this is my favorite event, and there are many reasons why I love this event, but right at the top, actually, is something like we just saw right there, which is just yet a different perspective. So we've heard from brand marketers, we heard from publishers, technologists, and then we got to see get some visibility into, again, this group that is stewarding billions of dollars of media investment for many of the world's largest brands. So that's just a really great part of this event. Okay, and the key here is, right, in order to deliver exceptional, consistent customer experiences, it's not just one discipline. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to build on the great keynotes this morning from Tom and from Raji and check out the capabilities of Einstein in the Salesforce Marketing Cloud. However, before we do, one last time, I know everyone's super excited when I do this, right? The forward-looking statement. We will be making forward-looking statements today. It's important that you base your purchase decisions on products that are currently in the marketplace. I'm sure everyone's gone back to the website, but it's at the website if you want more information. And let's roll the video. Wonderful. Please join me in welcoming Leslie Fine up to the stage. She's Vice President of Data Analytics, Salesforce.
Hi there. You've been hearing a lot about Einstein over the course of today, and you've been paying attention to Salesforce this year over the course of the last year. And we're going to spend a little time double-clicking on some of what you heard this morning and talking about how Einstein is baked into every part of Salesforce, and in particular, into the DMP. But before that, let's just take a little bit of a journey on how Einstein came to be. We live in a very different world than we did 20 years ago. We've gone from the mainframe and the client server to the cloud where Salesforce was born. And these changes in the way that we live our lives have accelerated rapidly with the explosion of social and mobile and IoT. All of this adds up to a world where we do our jobs radically differently than the way that our parents did. And in no arena is that more true than when it comes to intelligence. So I was a good daughter, and I spent some time with my mom on Sunday. And I was getting ready for this, and it was on my mind. She was trying to figure out what it is I actually do for a living. Still doesn't know. I asked her what she thought AI was, and she was painting a very futuristic robot Terminator future. And what I reminded her of, and I'll remind all of you, is that's not actually what AI is. AI is here. It's in your pockets with natural language processing powering Siri. It's in the clothes that you're wearing with machine learning powering recommendations on Amazon and other sites. And it's in your photo albums with deep learning powering the facial recognition on every photo that you post to Facebook. And the thing about those examples, and the reason she didn't notice, is that the AI is nearly invisible. It just works. You don't need to learn a new UI. You don't have to find the new data. You don't have to hire new people. It just is there, making you smarter, helping you make better decisions, and helping you stay more connected. But these companies have another thing in common that might be a little different than those of you in this room. They've made massive strategic investments and indeed bet their entire product future on AI. Most of you are not in that world. While you're at technology companies to some extent, you're betting your products on selling cars or cereal or content. And what we want you to do is to keep doing that and leave the rest to us. And that's really what Einstein is all about. You know, if you think back 18 years ago to the founding of Salesforce, the guiding principle that Stephanie talked about earlier today was that we wanted to make the way people do their jobs every bit as effortless and efficient as the way that they're living their personal lives. And that's exactly what Einstein is all about. We're taking these technologies that I've mentioned and others and baking them into every part of the platform. The goal is to make all of your employees smarter, but really the goal of that is to make every single one of your customers happier and more engaged. You know, when I think about AI in the context of history, I think about AI doing for our minds what the Industrial Revolution did for our muscles. It takes the toil and drudgery out of everyday work so that we can be more efficient, be smarter, get the rote and monotonous tasks out of our way so we can do better things. It's estimated that in 2018, 500 million of us will save 2 hours every day in our work by using AI. Let's all just take a moment and imagine the tedium that we can remove so we can work on more important things. So we can spend our time on strategy and looking around corners and thinking more about who our customers are and less of doing these monotonous tasks. So we've accelerated into this world pretty quickly. And if you haven't noticed, Crux is just the icing on the cake for a little bit of a shopping spree. We've gone out and found the who's who in AI and asked them to join our family. Everything from Relate IQ with sales intelligence, with MetaMind doing vision learning, Cool and doing infrastructure intelligence, and now Crux. These people across the bottom here and the hundreds more like them at Salesforce really are best of breed. And we're taking that best of breed and combining it with in-house know-how so that we can bring these products to market across the entire platform. Over the last 2 years or so, we've launched 37 products under the Einstein brand, and there are more with every release. And with those, your sales reps are getting smarter, your service cases are closing far more quickly, and your marketers are delivering perfect content on the exact right time and the right channel to the exact right audience. And there's no product in Salesforce, I would say, that have these more baked in and omnipresent than the Salesforce DMP. We've heard a little bit about some earlier today. The Einstein Segmentation, we're quickly finding personas, groups of people that on the surface of things might not look alike at all, but it turns out that they have interests in common that should make them interesting to you. With Journey Insights, we can dig through the trillions and trillions of combinations, and Khadija will talk about this a little later, that help us find the exact right path for conversion for any given goal. And with the Data Science Workbench, your data teams are enabled to be more effective and more efficient without spending their time plumbing pipelines. So now that we've set a little bit of the context of what Einstein is and how it works, let's go into a few key examples. We're going to talk today about 3 data trailblazers, 3 people who are likely in each of your organizations, our marketer, our analyst, and our data scientist. They're all doing essentially the same job of creating raving fan customers while being highly targeted and hyper-efficient with your marketing spend. But they're doing it at different points in the life cycle, and they're doing it with different tools at their disposal. So we'll go ahead and start with our marketer. She is looking for new segments. She's trying to understand that optimal journey. And ultimately, what she's trying to do is to create that perfect experience for any customer wherever they are on their journey with you. Our particular marketer works in mobile, and she runs the mobile app for Dunkin Donuts. Now, a lot of you might be thinking what I first thought when I heard about this was, why in God's name would you need a mobile app for donuts? But Dunkin has transformed their entire business. You know, they're nearly a 70-year-old brick-and-mortar company. I grew up with them back east on every single corner. But they've really changed. They have transformed nearly every part of their business into a digital marketing powerhouse. And the scale is pretty remarkable. Let's just dwell on these numbers for a second. So far this year, they've sent 700 million unique emails, created 2 million unique customer journeys, and driven 16 million mobile app downloads. And all that's added up to a 35% increase in average order value. But that change wasn't just for the fun of it. That change was driven by a changing world. It's a world where there's a Starbucks on every corner selling you $4 coffee, and where we could all reach in our pockets right now and order a car or a sandwich wherever we want, whenever we want. In order to meet that world and revolutionize their business, they've launched this app, and that's where our marketer comes in. Things were going really well at first, driving some downloads, but after a while, it started to get stale. And she's remarketing to that same audience over and over again. And if there's a problem with CRM data, it's that it's limited to the world of people that you know. In order to go find some new people, our marketer is going to use the Salesforce DMP and Journey Builder from the Marketing Cloud. But what's fantastic about Journey Builder is it's not this one piece of content. This one journey can create millions of permutations of content and channels and messages and timing. So you create one journey, and the rest adapts to every given customer. So we are in the data science portion of a data conference. So I'm just going to take a moment to peek behind the curtain at something we showed there. We've talked a little today about lookalikes and prospecting. I just want to explain the difference and how all of this comes together. So we've all seen this rainbow a couple times today, and that's how we think of our marketing universe. But these are our known customers sitting inside this lens at the bottom. But I, as the data person, don't see those products. What I see are these people. This is a collection of people about whom I have a whole lot of data. So when we do lookalike modeling, it goes something like this. We pick out a couple of customers that look like what we're looking for. We're like, these guys have exactly the attributes, behaviors that we want to drive more of. And we look within our own four walls to find more customers like them. Standard lookalike modeling, most of you have probably seen that before. But where this gets interesting is when we leave our own country and we go exploring the rest of the universe. Now, to do prospecting well, you need two things. You need data, and you need data science. So let's walk through how each of those have a role here. The first is data. We've talked a little bit today about Link and all of our fantastic publisher network. And our device graph is currently nearly 4 billion devices strong, making it the richest, largest network outside of the walled gardens. And with Link, those data providers can, in a trusted and secure way, provide that data so marketers can access this rich data set. But one of the challenges is that the language is different outside of your own company. In your company, you've found a way to describe your customers. It may or may not be the same as the one in all of these other potential resources. And that's where Einstein comes in. Einstein creates a common language across all of these different opportunities, all of these different data sets, so that we can go prospecting out in that group and find our exact right set. Now, Einstein is a set of products, but it's also a platform, and we have myriad data-providing partners that allow us to deepen this data set so we can do more interesting prospecting, find you deeper insights. One of our newest partners is here in the room. I'd like to welcome to the stage Damien Heredia, the Vice President of Watson.
Thanks for having me, Leslie.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. So I'm sure a lot of people in the room here are pretty familiar with Watson. They've heard about it once or twice, but can you explain what it really is?
Sure. Watson's IBM's AI platform in the cloud. Now, most of the time when we mention Watson, people think of Jeopardy, playing the game show and winning. It is, yes, 6 years ago, we used that game show to test out new innovations in technology, especially around ingesting and understanding and reasoning and learning large, massive amounts of information, and then interacting with humans in real time to make decisions. In fact, we refer to, instead of AI, we refer to it as augmented intelligence, because we're really focused on helping people make better decisions and accentuate their strengths as humans. Now, we took that those set of technologies, and we deconstructed those into smaller atomic services and put them up in our cloud in Bluemix.net. And that allowed anyone to come in and build new AI applications using those same services that we use to build our apps. And it's taken off like wildfire in the industry and in the enterprise. In fact, this year we expect Watson will touch over 1 billion in consumers by the end of the year. And everything from healthcare to financial services to manufacturing and retail. In healthcare, we do things like help doctors understand the 6,000 clinical trials that may be out there and matching the patient with the right clinical trial. Majority of blood cancer tests go through Watson. And every time we are interacting with new data and new cases, we get smarter. And that raises what we call the machine IQ. It goes up. And so we feed it as much information around domains as possible. Now, those services also are available to do things like marketing.
I'd love to understand how we're leveraging what you're doing with Watson to make that data set even better.
Yeah. So we're humbled to be part of the Salesforce family here. And what Crux has done is taken the particular API in Watson called Watson Discovery Natural Language Understanding and hands us URLs, which are not as meaningful as if you looked at the content on the page. But we then, Watson, look at the page URL by URL and categorize into IOB categories so that you basically are building a persona per page that helps you target and prospect and market better.
Yep.
And that is done at large scale.
So just to make that specific to our Dunkin Donuts example, I could be reading an article on a website and it's about donuts, right? And I'm reading all kinds of things about food and coffee and whatnot, and what's happening on the Watson side as I'm doing that?
Sure, so we're going through that and using machine learning and previous experiences and also context that is given to us to understand and categorize that that's a page for foodies or that's a page for soccer moms. And we can help categorize those into IOB categories using machine learning.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things here is this is where Watson and Einstein come together, right? Watson has all of this data about what's happening in the world, and we know that your customer has been there 7 times in the last 30 days. So now all of a sudden this person is a foodie enthusiast.
Right.
So those two are coming together.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about why you're excited that Einstein and Watson are sort of working this out?
Yeah, it's a great complementary relationship. You know, Salesforce and IBM have been working together in the field and customers for quite some time. We have over 2,000 shared customers just between us on these use cases. And what's important is we step back, and AI was really the catalyst to build a more strategic relationship between our two companies. We had a shared vision around AI driving new insights and helping users make better decisions. Now, Einstein is the AI for CRM, the best in the world. Watson is focused on the industry use cases, the dark data, the things that are behind your firewall and helping bring those forward into the Salesforce experience as well. In fact, 95% of the data in your enterprise is dark data, which means data you can't understand with a normal machine, whether it's videos, PDFs, handwritten doctor notes, et cetera. So Watson focused a lot on that and bringing that forward to be usable.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So we explored a little bit about how we're turning our marketer into a hero. She's finding all kinds of new segments. She's driving conversion. But then what happens next? Here to talk to us about the analyst experience, please welcome Khadija Ajania.
Thanks, Leslie. So just to recap what's happened so far, we have our marketing manager, as Leslie outlined, has launched a campaign to get people to download the Dunkin Donuts app. Now, the next role is for the analyst to take over and try to figure out what's working and what's not. Now, for today, I'm going to play the analyst role. So what's my job? Well, my job is to figure out what campaigns are working and what's not, what's driving effectiveness, what patterns are working, and really get the most out of the media budget. So how am I going to do that? Well, today, that's really hard. I'm in a data-driven world. So much data is being thrown at me. The DMP now is included, and all of that data is coming together. That's a lot. My job is tough. So I need to figure out, how do I get more insights? So Einstein Journey Insights is here to the rescue. So at this point, I'm going to actually hand it back to Leslie to talk about the next trailblazer, our data scientist.
Great job. Good job. Thanks so much, Khadija. So now we've gone through 2 out of the 3 chapters. Our marketer is more efficiently and accurately finding people to download her app. Our analyst is delivering back what's really driving that so we can go a little further. Now let's talk about that mythic unicorn of our decade, the data scientist. His job is to take all of this data and to find new insights. It's often to very quickly respond to organizational asks, and really his Uber mission is to drive costs down and to simplify the act of doing his actual job. Now I could stand up here and talk to you about a persona of a data scientist, but it'll be more fun to actually introduce you to ours. Please welcome to the stage Dr. Yakov Solomon, our Vice President of Data Science.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Far too kind.
There it is.
Can I get up?
Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So we spent a lot of time today talking about the kinds of things that you do and how it's making our consumer lives better and more frictionless, more personal, all of that awesome stuff. But there's a flip side to that coin. Can you talk a little bit about what that means for businesses and what they need to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So in my opinion, for every business, right, becoming what I refer to as data science enabled is increasingly critical, right? The problem is that for most non-technology companies, the path towards data science enablement is not always clear. It's risky, it's costly. You need to, it requires you to hire expensive and rare talent. It requires you to amend some, set of unique technologies, and it takes time, right? Putting together a system that collects, stores, analyzes, and activates big data is not trivial, but it is a necessary thing for doing data science these days.
That's great. And I think a lot of us understand the mandate to bring in more sophisticated data science, but we actually don't understand what a data scientist does all day. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. There's three things a data scientist really wants to do when they go to solve a problem. We want to discover patterns in the data, right? We want to build a model that describes those patterns, and we want to activate the model in the wild, right? To continue learning, make predictions, and generate insights. So that's what we're trained to do. But what we end up doing, in fact, up to a recent study, up to 80% of our time is spent on integration, building pipelines, unifying, cleaning. It takes sometimes months to complete, costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we haven't delivered a single value to the business yet.
Yep.
Right? I sometimes use the analogy of hiring really talented surgeons to cure patients, but asking them to build a hospital, laying bricks and all in the process, right? All these steps are about building the hospital. They're not really about curing patients directly.
Yep. So I know you'd be a man of action. What are you doing to solve this problem for our customers?
Yeah. So in a sense, the last 7 years at Crux were all about building intelligent pipeline, right? We heard Tom before. A pipeline is an always-on, synced, normalized, clean, intelligent data that is ready to be activated across any channel, right? The DMP is really the tip of the iceberg, and all that mass under the water is a platform, right? That stores, collects, analyzes, and activates securely data across all the channels, right? So this is the same engine that my teams of data scientists and engineers build many of the data science solutions and AI-driven products we've seen earlier today. Right? What we really want is to expose that platform now to data scientists and our clients, because we realize that just the same as we grew, our clients grew. And many of them hired teams of data scientists that want to do that sexy data thing, right? They want access to the data lake that Deborah talked about before.
Yep.
They want an environment where they can, stage, build, and productionize their model. So we're going to expose our platform to data scientists at our clients' companies so that they can be just as every bit agile as my team. Right? We've done the hard work of building hospitals, essentially. So our data scientist teams in other companies don't have to. And that's where it comes to go. The beauty of our solution that our platform comes batteries included, right? It's the technology, it's the infrastructure, it's the algorithm, it's the bring your own algorithm, and it's the most important thing, right? The data, your data, normalized, clean, all flowing through those intelligent pipelines, ready for action. We've done all the hard, boring work of amassing it together, so you don't have to. And you're welcome.
Well, thanks for that, Yakov. So we spent a little time today talking about how Einstein is really playing into every single part of your business. Your marketer is finding new segments, they're creating more personal journeys. Your analyst is able to find that needle in the data haystack far more efficiently. And your data scientist is spending his time doing what you're paying him for instead of being a plumber. So I know it's been a little bit of a long session. We're all going to get up and stretch our legs. These products and more are all over in the campground. I've got a lot of friends over there really excited to show you. And we'll see you back here in a few minutes.